Welcome to the Adobe Photoshop CS4 for Photographers DVD. On this disc you'll find a series of movie tutorials that I've recorded showing different features and new items that are available in Photoshop CS4. And to kick off with, I wanted to give you a brief introduction to the new interface in both Photoshop and Bridge. And first of all, let me just open up the preferences in Photoshop using Command K on the Mac and Control K on the PC and show you an important section here in the performance preferences, where you'll see GPU settings. If you have a video card installed in your computer that is OpenGL enabled, then if you check the item shown here, enable OpenGL drawing, you'll be able to access some of the navigation features that I'm about to show you. And also in the general preferences there's an item called Enable Flick Panning, and you'll need to have that checked as well, and I'll show you this just in a second. So with those two settings checked, assuming that you have OpenGL enabled on your video card, then you'll be able to do the following. So for example, if we zoom in on this image, and I'm going to use the thumb wheel here on the mouse just to zoom in quickly, you can see that we've got pretty good fast scrolling. If I just zoom in now to 100% and just have a look at the image in close-up here, I can just show you one of the first tricks, which is if you hold down the H key and click and hold down the mouse as you do so, then you can quickly zoom out of the image and then release and just choose a new area, keeping the H key held down. If I just click again and release the mouse, I can just find any area of the image that I want to immediately scroll to, and very quickly you can see the view on screen. And this is much faster than working with the Navigator panel in Photoshop. But as I say, remember, this is an OpenGL feature. The next thing I'm going to show you is the flick panning. I mentioned that in the preferences. And if you just basically just flick with a mouse, you'll see that the preview on the screen will just basically just scroll across automatically in the direction that you flick. And it depends on how much you flick as to how fast or how far the scrolling will actually go. Let me now close down that image and then show you this photograph here, and we're now going to look at the rotate view tool. Now the rotate view tool is available here next to the hand tool in the tools panel, and also in the application bar, which is new at the top here in Photoshop CS4. You can also select it up here. So to use this, you can just simply mouse down on an image and then just drag with the cursor, and you can rotate the photograph around to whatever angle you want. And the beauty of this is that you can very easily manipulate your image into position for carrying out retouching at whatever angle suits your hand best, rather than craning your neck and putting a hand at an awkward angle to retouch a photograph. Anytime you want to reset the view, then you can just simply click on that button and then it will restore itself to the original position. Then you'll notice at the top here in the application bar we've got the button here to go to Bridge. We've got View Extras options, the Zoom Level hand tool, the Rotate View tool that I showed you just then, and then you've got the Arrange Documents, which allows you to click and select a document layout, so you can choose from different layouts that are available in this menu and just find the one that sort of suits whichever way you prefer working. So you've got pretty good, easy, quick ways to quickly arrange all the open documents on your desktop. Then you'll also notice that next to it you've got the screen view modes. The screen view modes used to be down at the bottom of the tools panel, but now they've been moved up here to the application bar. So for example, you can go to the full screen mode with the menu bar with the grey canvas, or you can go straight to the full screen mode with the black canvas. Then over here you can see that we've got the workspaces option, and with the workspaces you can select from one of the presets that ship with CS4. So we've got Essentials here, which I find is a pretty good starting point to work with. But maybe when you're first working with CS4, you might want to choose the What's New in CS4 option, because then if you go to the menus, you'll see that all the items that are new to Photoshop CS4, these are all now highlighted in blue, so that if you wanted to just acquaint yourself with what's new, then maybe start with this option first of all, and that will allow you to kind of like sort of quickly sort of spot the new items. We can now show you how to actually navigate with these windows and how you can arrange them. So for example, if I just drag this window out from being docked at the top there, you can see that it's possible to have the window floating freely. Now, working with the application window and with the documents docked at the top, I find that that works, kind of okay for certain situations. But then, for a lot of the work I do, I'm regularly dragging layers across and dragging images into other images. So I find that having the windows floating free is actually sort of more suited for quite a lot of the other jobs that I do. And if you find that you're not keen on the idea of working with the application frame, then bear in mind that if you go down here, you can actually deselect the application frame, and then you'll find that you'll automatically have all your windows free and floating. Then if you wanted to still dock the windows, you can do. You can just basically drag one across to the other, dragging on the header, just dragging at the top there. And then you can basically group your documents together into a single window, which you might find useful for being able to manage lots of open windows at once. If I just change over the view here to go back to the demo mode, I want to now show you another change which has taken place in CS4. You may be familiar with the Notes tool in CS4. It's available down here from the eyedropper menu. And the Notes tool previously in Photoshop would have been a tool that you used where you would have clicked on an image to add a new note, like one of these sticky yellow notes that you can see here. And then a little window would have popped open and you could type instructions directly into that window. Well, because of the new OpenGL features, that wasn't possible to integrate into CS4, but the Notes tool has still remained, and you'll see that if you click on a tool, on a note, for example, and go over to the Notes panel here on the right, then you can see a description of the what's contained in the note written here into the panel. So basically, notes can still be used, and you can still add them, and it's now not hindered by the fact that we've got OpenGL drawing built into Photoshop CS4. So I've shown you quite a few of the new things that are in Photoshop, but I should really not forget looking at Bridge, and we can go over to Bridge by clicking on that window at the top of the application bar. And here is the Bridge window interface, which is just had some nice changes to it. I think it's actually got a better layout now compared to the previous versions that we've worked with. I've not been a great fan of Bridge for the last version in CS3. CS4 does redeem itself. It's actually, I think it's better to work with now, and it's been speeded up in some significant ways. Let me just go and show you, for example, the workspaces. Now, just as we had workspaces in Photoshop CS4 that were now easier to handle, you've also got workspace options here too, so that you can see this menu here that allows you to just quickly switch between different views, so that you can choose metadata, or you can choose the output, for example. Let's go and stick with the essentials to begin with. Let me just go and drag on the slider here to make the thumbnails in the content area bigger. And one of the new things in Bridge CS4 that I like are the one-click previews. If you just click with the spacebar, you can see an enlarged view filling the screen. Click with the spacebar again and you return to the previous Bridge view. If I select make a selection of images and press the spacebar, I can use the arrow keys to very quickly just navigate between each of those photographs, press the spacebar, and I can go back again. And I think that's actually a very, very cool, very simple feature which makes Bridge navigation much easier. And it's great just seeing the photographs without all the clutter of the interface in the background. There is a search box up here at the top. You can see that you can use to search for terms. It also includes the option to be able to work with system search navigations such as Spotlight on the Macintosh. Down over here you can see that we've got a new collections panel, and this allows you to create collections of images, so that, for example, I've got selected here a demo set of images that I group together for doing this particular demo, but then I can click on to other collections that I've got saved here, and then you can see the images instantly populated in the window. You can also create smart filters, so you can use rules to actually to decide how collections are built. So clicking on the Retouch Photos Plus 2-star collection here will group together um, images that come from a folder called Retouch Photos and all the subfolders, but only show me the images that have been rated with 2 stars or higher. And then let me go and return to show you the output workspace over here, because the output workspace allows you to create web galleries or create PDF outputs. And it used to be a web photo gallery feature, but now it's just called web gallery, because basically it's not just photographs that you can use to build galleries. You can also include other types of files as well. But as far as photographers are concerned, it's still basically a web photo gallery feature. And you can start by selecting images down here at the bottom of the content section, and then you can choose different types of templates to work with. It's a different interface from the one that you might have been used to for working with Web Photo Gallery and the Automate submenu in Photoshop in previous versions. And I'm not particularly crazy about it. It's pretty sort of clunky and slow, and it's difficult to save settings. But I'll just show you anyway that if you click on the refresh preview, you can see that it will take a little while just to process through the images that I selected down there. And then it will populate the preview here to show you an update, so that you can see the result of that selection and how the images would look. So that concludes this particular introduction into working with Photoshop CS4 and Bridge CS4. There's a lot more to come, so don't forget to check out the rest of the movies on this DVD.